G'day traders, this is John Howell speaking. I'm just going to give you a weekly update on what happened on the market last week and where the market's going and what does it look like it's trying to do coming or looking forward. So let's look at the chart right now. Looking at a weekly Australian, the AXJO chart. Basically, it's the top index in the Australian stock market. Now, if we're looking at this chart here, we're looking at a weekly chart right now. And if I just open up my chart here, and once again, each bar represents 1 week, and we can clearly see something going on here. If I just go from here to here, okay, there we go through there. Look at that resistance. Okay, what we have here is we have resistance 1, or should I say starter 1, resistance 2, and resistance 3. Now if I look at the market as well, you can also see that if I just get a horizontal line and draw that right through there, bam, right through there, and put on my candlesticks, you can clearly see that, I open up my chart a bit more again, you can clearly see that the market came down, actually had a bit of a wick, but held here. This is the Australian market now, bounced here and now went up, came up, hit this resistance line which we came down through there, came down, bounced off support, came up, hit this resistance, came down, bounced off this support. Now this is a descending triangle. Basically, it's descending. It's increasing to the downside. The sellers keep pressurizing down. If you can see here, the market runs down, bounces off support, bounces off support, bounces off support, and every time it bounces off support, it keeps getting lower and lower and lower by the sellers. It's called descending triangle. It's a powerful pattern to the downside. Now, this is showing me that it's likely to break out to the downside. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to break out to the downside, but by looking at this particular market, and by looking at this particular index, it's weakening and weakening and weakening, and it's ready to drop. Now, that's what's happening on the Australian market, is basically that, is we're having a nice little support through here. You just see here, we have a support through here, support through there, and a support through there. It's supporting through here. The sellers keep making lower highs or lower peaks, knocking it down, and now we can clearly see that the market is increasing to the downside. Now, if you have a look at the overall market is still very, very bearish to the downside. It's just been getting hammered, and now just going sideways, and now it's basically ready for another big move. And that's the way the market works. It works in moves, consolidation, moves, counter trend, move, consolidation, move, counter trend, and you'll notice it so much. Look at this here. Has a big move, counter trend. Has a big move, consolidation. Has a big move, counter trend, and we're ready for another. Oh, now it's actually forming a pattern here. Now we're ready for another big move. So when the big move happens, we don't know when it's going to happen, but when it happens, we need to know, okay, then what side of the stocks do we really want to be on? Because if the market starts dropping here, now I'm not saying to everyone get out of their stocks if they're in stocks, so we're not saying to everyone if they are in any particular market at the moment or any particular share. I'm not saying to get scared by this, but I'm saying that if the market starts falling through here, you're going to see majority of the stocks go down with it, because that's basically what it is. It's a measure. This is a measure of the top stocks in the Australian stock market. Now, if it's a measure of the top stocks in the Australian stock market, then what we're looking at is the market overall going down, because it's just a reflection of what the market's doing. So if that's the case, then you'll probably be likely want to be on the short side than the long side. Now there's a bit of cautionary there, and the cautionary is this: when we're trading the market, there's always going to be stocks that go up. You know, like for example, look at Woolworths. I know. Just last week it came down, gapped down massively, had a 7.7% down day in one day. But majority of that stock has been going up. You know, you look at something like Newcrest Mining, that's been going up where most stocks have been still going down. So, or most stocks are actually consolidating as we speak, or slightly up. But majority, look at Newcrest Mining, that's been going up a lot of times. So I'm not saying just because the market's going down doesn't mean stocks are not going to go up, but most stocks are likely to go with the overall index, because that's what, again, it's a measure of the index. Now let's have a look at the Dow Jones chart. Let's see what the Dow Jones chart says here. Once again, I'm looking at this is the Dow Jones, top 30 stocks in the US. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at basically what has happened over the, so you can see here down here as the many months. This is what happened last week. Man, this is a weekly bar here. And if I just simply draw a trend line down through there. Alright, so down through there. You can clearly see that it's been knocking it down, knocking it down. But let me actually go a bit more of a closer look. And let's go to the daily chart here. Let's bring up some candlesticks so we can have a better look at it. And if I just open up my chart a bit, you can clearly see here, this is sort of the last week, what happened last week. Now if I show you this here, look what we have here. If I open my chart a bit more, you can clearly see that the market is forming some sort of a channel pattern forming through here. Okay? Bit of a channel forming through there. Now, you can see the market comes down, hit support, hit resistance, hit support, and now it's out where it is right now. Now, it's that some would say that's actually close to a support. Now, if I just delete all those indicators again, and let's go to a weekly chart here, and I'll show you this. Look at this here. You can actually see here that the market was at a massive support through there. This is on a weekly chart. And the market did have a bit of support down here, but now you clearly see it came down, bounced off and came down and actually got knocked down through there. Showing that the overall US market is a lot more weaker than the Australian market. You can clearly see back here that was the next support. And if that was the next support over here, it's now hit resistance. It's now showing down. So what the US market has done, it's actually gone and broken past that support where the Australian market hasn't yet. It's actually holding that support quite nicely. So the US market is showing that it wants to continue going down. But the Australian market says it's holding that support level. So it'll be a very interesting week to see what happens this week, because if it starts breaking that, if the Australian market starts breaking that support level we saw at the start of the video, and the US market keeps going down, then we could have what we call a suction effect or a vacuum effect, where it just starts to go down and down and down and down. Now I'm not saying that's going to happen. We've just got to wait. But no matter what happens, always stick to a plan that you have, and then go from there. Okay. One thing I want to quickly show you here is this. Look at this here. If I draw from trend line from down here to here, okay, and I draw a trend line from here to here, look what's happening in the very short term. This is only looking at a month term, but look what happened. Look what's happening here on a sort of a monthly view. It's actually making a bit of a short-term channel. Resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. Now, if that's the case, this is actually showing a lot of resistance around here and has actually broken past his previous support. This market looks like it wants to try and run down to at least the 6,800 level. This is the Dow Jones, remember, where the Australian market is actually holding that support. So if the Dow Jones keeps dropping, then we're likely to see the Australian market drop as well. So again, we don't know what's going to happen, but the market at the moment is at a very, very pinnacle point where as the buyers either the buyers are going to pick it up and scoop it up and run to the upside, or they're going to do what the US market has done, is actually broken through that support and now starting to step down. So this is just a bit of a weekly recap and to show you what's happening in the market. Please enjoy the rest of your week, and I shall see you next week with your next weekly update.